So I've gotten started on modifying the straps to this Alice pack, and what I'm doing right now is rather than use this strap to tie down gear across the top of this flap anymore, from now on there's going to be one of these rectangular rings sewn to the strap, and if I want to lash a piece of gear to the top of the backpack, it's just going to lay across the top of these two straps, and then a gear strap is going to go through this metal rectangular ring here and probably through this lashing point here, and it's just going to hold it independently of the backpack. It's going to have its own gear straps. It's not going to rely on these to hold it. And I think what I'm going to do is I want to permanently stitch these straps to the top of this flap. The problem with that is there's actually a pocket inside of this flap. There's a bottom piece here that's really water resistant, and there's the top piece here. And you open it up with just a little bit of Velcro, and you can actually put things inside of that flap there. Some people call it a map flap, but right now I got to, basically what I'm going to do is take one of these rectangular rings, put it on the strap, take a bite into the strap, lay it down against itself, and then sew an X pattern into the strap against the top of this flap. But I have to be careful that I'm not sewing through the bottom piece and compromising this waterproof lining here. I'd really like to be able to use a sewing machine, but there's just no way to get this open far enough to get this underneath the presser foot and sew just this piece without having it go through the bottom portion. What I could do is just undo all the stitching around the edges so that I separate the top piece from the bottom piece, and then later, once I've got everything sewed up the way I want it, just redo the stitching with the sewing machine. The only reason I decided not to do that right now is because I'm really low on thread. And it's funny, when you have your kids, you know, in order to go out and buy more thread, it seems like, you know, you need to take out a loan to buy $5 worth of thread, and, you know, find a babysitter to watch the kids so you can run to the store and you know, and then bum a ride to the store because, you know, mom's got the car. So for now I'm just going to hand sew. I've already gotten started on this side, but I'm going to hand sew an X pattern to sew this strap to this top flap here, and that should get me started on this modification. Doing the stitching is a little bit challenging because every time I have to go back up through the material, I can't really see what I'm doing, so I have to go a little bit by feel. Kind of just taking stabs in the dark here until I get the spot I was meant to get. Not too tough. Going from top to bottom, it's just going from bottom to top is where the challenge lies. came up with a decent way to help myself out here. I used a binder clip to hold all this material in place. That way, as I'm stitching this part here, I can just flip the material up, see what I'm doing on the inside of this pocket here, and just pass the needle back through. Might not work on the first few initial stitches because I don't want the two pieces coming out of place there, but once I got a few stitches in, it seems to work just fine. Seems to help a little bit. Sometimes when you have to sew through several layers of really thick, tough material like this, it'll help save your fingers if you use one of these cheap multi-tools. The pliers on them are spring-loaded, so it's really good for just grabbing that needle and making quick work of it. Okay, now that we're all done with the sewing on these rings, we got the metal rings attached to the pack here. So now if we want to attach a piece of gear to the top of the pack, just run it through that point there. I'm going to strap through that ring. And this way we can still modify the pack in the manner in which I intended, but we don't lose the ability to strap a piece of gear to the top of the pack.